So, so, so what we discussed in our previous session is like we discussed about all of the building blocks of DevOps model. Okay, so for while like let me go forward and discuss more of we'll discuss more on the tooling part of DevOps, what it's giving us, okay, or what particular teams across different organizations are using the tools so that they are automating their process and they are picking up the speed or the delivery rate much faster than the previous traditional methods. So one of the tools which I would talk about and we have worked in the past is the Team Foundation server. Okay, so in short, Foundation server is a local version of it, and we worked on something called as VSTS. Okay, Visual Studio Online, which is now called as Visual Studio Team Service. Okay, and we have something called as on-prem TFS as well. Okay, if you have some TFS Team Foundation server running in your local, that would be running or installed on your local, and everything, the code is centralized and kept in on-prem TFS, and the code would be or taken up by developers who are developing, and each and every teams can make different projects, or each and every multiple projects can have multiple developers and people involving in it. Okay, and it's not only the job of developer to who handles a TFS or VSTS account, okay, or uses a UI, but it's each and equal, like even a scrum manager, scrum master do use it, managers use it, okay, not to allocate work or keep an eye how is the work going on, everything. Okay, so take an example of a production pipeline where actually I mean, if you go to core industries, where whether it's any sector, petroleum or any other manufacturing company, you will have certain pipeline where you can see that how a product is getting shaped up. Okay, but how does a software product would be visible, like how it is getting shaped up, whether it's passing certain quality checks or not. Like if you take an example of a car manufacturer, so at first the backbone or the framework would be made up, okay, and then the wheels would be added to it, and then the engine would be added to it, like that. Okay, so after each and everything, like after the engine is added, wheels are added, you'll have some certain some sort of speed test or breakdown test. Okay, so after that it passes, it goes for job, the painting section, paint job sections, like that. Okay, so the same thing with the software product. If you take an example, then after every particular feature release, it need to go under a quality assurance check. Okay, and if the quality assurance check is manual, then that particular process would be sort of continuous, like continuous delivery kind of process, but it's not quite automated as we expect in continuous integration and continuous deployment. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is like the manual check, whatever automated process is there, we need to have certain amount of unit test who which can actually take care of these things. Okay, so that's what we can achieve with the source code which is there in either in TFS or in GitHub repo or in local Git repo. Okay, so the local Git repo have the Git kind of code in it, and my TFS would have something called as TFVC or Team Foundation Version Control kind of code managed in TFS repo. If you take an example, TFS would be, ultimately it would be nothing but it would be your SQL server. Your code would be going and sitting in a SQL server. Okay, so that's how, like, you can take a backup of your source control, and if a new team is forming, you can hand over the code to their own databases. Okay, which says that it's if you have created your TFS project in your on-prem TFS, then it would be part of a SQL server, and you can take a backup and give it to another team so they can put up that particular backup and provision a source control in their own SQL Server DB. Okay, so that would be another TFS collection, Team Foundation collection. Okay, we'll talk about them as well. And like what we'll talk about is TFS, we'll talk about version controlling systems, and we'll talk about the project management. Okay, so the first thing which in order to automate the process which would thinking is would be, having particular unit test cases which can actually validate at the QA level, stating that yeah, this code is good and it doesn't break down any of the existing feature. Okay, or it can take up it doesn't breaks even in the new models which have been developed. Okay, so for that we have something called a SQL Server Schema Management. Okay, SQL Server Schema Management is also required where, because it's not only the code which is going to get deployed in certain time when you make any code changes with schema changes, the table structure changes, then that also need to be reflected and which also need to be tested out. Okay, and you can do this particular schema changes everything using unit tests, and in DevOps it's also considered as a main criteria that it's not only that code you wanna test, it's possible that you can test even the database codes which are which actually lies down in store procedures. Even the business logics need to be tested well, right? But most of the business, or at least 20% of the business logic which would be sitting in the store procedures can't be neglected, or in queries which can't be neglected. Okay, so we have certain tools which actually can be used, like the tools like Slacker Runner, T-SQL-T. These are open source DB unit test framework which actually can be used, and then you can frame up unit test on top of your databases. That's possible. Okay, and which is highly recommended in DevOps. And then like you can have as usual normal QA testing, manual testing, you can place it. Okay, and you can have you can automate these particular QA tests. You can have automated UA testing and coded UA testing, and you can have feature flag deployments. You can have feedback and feature usage tracking, components, performance monitoring on top of it. Okay, so SQL Server Management, as I said, right, the SSMS actually where the business logic also resides need to be tested well. So that I said you can use these particular tools for that, for writing up unit test cases. And so when you write up unit test cases, what you will be looking out to run is like these particular unit tests should be, it should be easy to set up and run, because setting up my unit test cases are not a part of bigger work of a developer, but rather it's a work of a tester or any other person. Okay, so it should be easy to set up. A person tester or some other guy should not take up much time to setting up and running this particular tool. He should not face any issues, and it should be flexible to mock and generate test data. Like you should be easy to prepare up mock tests on top of your features or modules, and it should be easy to develop test logic and make up assertions, so that the results are which are related can pass these particular assertions, and the test gets succeeded. And it should be easy to debug these particular test and code issues. And like when we talk about DevOps, it should be obviously these particular tools, or whatever the new open source tools which we're going to use, should be have a seamless integration with CI, any kind of CI and CD pipeline. Okay, and when we go next, apart from unit test, if we talk about version control, and version control is not about if you're a team of only one guy, you're only one person, then you can work by yourself. Okay, you doesn't, or what kind of versions, or where you have kept, or where you have folderized and kept your code. Okay, but when you work with a team, you need to actually take care of, you can think that yeah, okay, it's okay, I'll make the version and I'll just distribute this version to another my piece, so that they also know that which particular is a stable version, which is a QA version, which is test version. But when you start working with the multiple teams, right, that's a concern. You can't, or a single person can't make a version control, or keep an eye on the code, that which particular code or what particular sort of changes have been happened in my code, or what is a master branch, which is a QA branch or testing branch, which particular branch is a stable version, or which version is deployed onto the production. it would be difficult. Okay, so for that only we have version controlling systems on even VSTS or on Git. Okay, so if we take an example, most of the Microsoft product or other the organizations have started realizing that a TFS is a lot greater good than Git. Okay, and in certain I mean like sorry, Git is lot better than TFS. Okay, so let's go and spot out certain definitions differences which TFS need to provide has to provide, and Git is providing right now at present. So TFS is centralized version control system. Okay, and when I say centralized version control system, take an example of you have this particular code here. Take an example, you have a CBCD app. Okay, and we have hosted a code here. Okay, since this is a Git app, it would be but it's not a TFS version kind of thing, but it's most of the Git type is distributed sort of source control. So if it is TFVC, which is there in this particular product which I have created, okay, I'll go to the code. So if we have TFS and Git kind of repos, right? So in this, like if you take an example of a TFVC, so this is a TFVC sort of code control and source control, and what TFVC is like, it's folder based branching would be done in this one. Okay, so you have something called as build process templates, and that build process template you need to create a folder, and then here only you can actually check in your code. It's not like Git, like you can create any folders and you can actually create a branch from any folders. It's not. It's compulsory here in TFVC. You need to have a folder in build process templates. That's a compulsion. So once that is done, like that's a difference, a basic difference with TFS and Git. And the code which need to be, if you have checked out or pulled out the code from TFVC right now, then to your visualstudio.com, let me open my Visual Studio. To your Visual Studio, then you need to take care of, you have consistent connection so that you can actually upload your code, whatever commits you want to put onto TFVC. It need a continuous internet connection, but not with Git. You can have your changes happening on or rolled out. You can actually commit your code changes into local Git repo, and then it can, whenever your laptop or your device gets connected to internet, it actually takes up your log and commits, checks that any commits are there from your local. It would take up those commits and silently push that commits to your remote repo. And what you can do with TFS is you can add, edit, delete, check in, check out. You can make branches. You can merge branches with TFS. It's the same thing. Um, with the Git, you can do that. Okay. And since Git maintains a local repo, not like unlike TFS. Okay. So the Git can actually undo any changes from the code, even it's offline, because the code changes would return first to your local repo, okay, in Git. So it can do code changes, the like code rollout, rollbacks in your local, and then whenever it connects to internet, or you can manually go and commit back that changes or rollbacks from the master server as well, master source control Git server. So the TFS local workspaces, one version you can undo, and with the Git you actually can undo to 2 years ago the code which is persisted or committed within 2 years. And ultimately TFS knows what's on your machine, okay, because it's connected. And the Git remote server is completely unaware until you push. Okay, so since you have two particular repos, your local repo and Git repo. Okay, so the local repo, whatever changes are there, local repo is available. It's aware of whatever changes you are making. But your remote repo or the remote server doesn't know exactly what are the changes you have pushed in. for last 2 years or any amount of time until unless you push it. So when you with the Git, right, there's a Git server. It's a remote Git server. You actually take up the code, clone a repo from Git repo to local machine, and it actually makes a local copy in your machine. And then when you push the changes, it's actually commits the changes to Git server back from the local repo. And team projects, like can be one team. The team projects are, if you're creating your account on Visual Studio Online, the one particular account which I created, the ashoka007.visualstudio.com. Okay, so here one team can have one project and multiple teams can have one project. They can be tagged into one project as well. Okay, it's possible in VSTS. And VSO profile, you need to create a VSO profile before creating VSO projects. And you can create a new project, okay, new via VSO, or you can create via Visual Studio itself. Okay, what you can do is, like, if you want to take an example, like here is my Visual Studio profile, VSO profile, which I've created, and then you can create new accounts. Okay, and the create new accounts would put up new projects for your Visual Studio profile. Okay, and so the same thing I have created is the ashoka007.visualstudio.com, and that ashoka007 have this particular code. Okay, so it has code of TFVC and TF and Git server as well. Okay, Git under TFS and TFVC. You can create any two types of repos here. And once you have, like, you can have multiple team project collections, and one particular team project collections, you can see that. So you can have this particular team project collections completely. You can create around 10 team project collections. Okay, 10 team projects can be in that can be in the same one TPC. Okay, team projects collection can have 10 different projects, and two team projects in two different PCs and TPCs can actually share, like, they can't share code, and they can't actually, in multiple TCs, like, you can't share code between them, and you can't have reference work items between team projects. Okay, but even in a single team PC, if you have 10 team projects, you can actually share code between these particular team projects, and then with that, between team projects, and reference work items between team projects can be done, okay, using a single TPC. And you can move one of those team projects to another server. Okay, and that's possible if you have one TPC, and move one of those team project to another server is with a single TPC it's not possible, but with multiple TPC it's possible. So the reason for multiple TPC is, like, if you have developed and you have worked on a project and you have created a TFS server, and your complete repo is there, or the source code of your repo is there, working code of your repo is there in TFS. Okay, so think of a scenario like you're deprecating your project where you need to archive your TPC. It doesn't need to be run run 24/7, or doesn't need to consume the compute, because it's deprecated. It may be used a while. So whenever it's required, you can switch on that particular box and then use it, TFS server, and then use it. So what you can do is, like, you can archive this TPC and archive all articles in case product getting closed down. And if in cases like acquisitions, when it happens, like when a bigger fish actually consumes a smaller fish, or any startup, or any other firms, then actually the smaller firms who have developed the code need to be hand over to the bigger firm who actually acquires it. Okay, in that case also you need to actually back up your TPC, or you need to sell the complete TPC to your customer or the person who is acquiring. So how to create a TFC? So TFC is sort of creation of a team foundation server, okay, setup only. So you need to for this team foundation collection, team project collection. What you need to do is like you need to you have an administrator console when to install it. Okay, you'll be creating your TFC first, and then you can actually take up your whatever TFS the collection TFS foundation server. Like you have complete database of your repo, right? You can back up this particular repo. Okay, in case if you have a VSO, then you like we doesn't have any VSO with a free version VSO. If we have, then we don't have anything such like taking a backup of your repo, since it's a free version, and you don't have something called as uh, a admin console, or the like which provides you to take a backup of your code on a free version of VSO, Visual Studio Onine, VSTS. Okay, but you can manage projects, but not TFC. You can go to your Visual Studio or .com, whatever projects you have loaded up, and click slash admin. It will take to a place where you can actually manage your project, create your projects, each and everything. And TFVC versioning, working with TFVC is quite easy as working with a Git repo. Okay, it's same since it's also hosted on VSTS. Like we can connect to any of the TFS server, TFVC server, or VSTS server only. Configure workspace, create a work item. We can create a bug, assign a bug, and more we can do. And that we can do with even with Visual Studio alone, or we can like we can just do it online. So let's take an example. We go to a team explorer, and we'll try to connect to a team foundation server, the issue guy 007, and I don't want to connect to this. I would connect to issue guy 007, which I've created very far way back. So I'll just connect to project. It will flourish up all of the details like which I have created or I have connected. So if you take an example of this one, if you go to this the Ashoka 007.winstudio.com, and my signed in credentials are Girish underscore Kalamati at hotmail.com. Okay, so Girish underscore Kalamati at hotmail.com is a member. It's saying it's a member of this particular repo. So the repo is created by the Ashoka 007. So what I'll do, I'll just open a new incognito window. I'll copy this link address and I'll open this details in here, the same thing. But I'll log in with the Ashoka 007. That's a different user. It's a different Outlook user. Which I created with the Ashoka Gmail account. I just sign in. So target sign in, and this is the Ashoka 007 profile. So he have created this particular project, TFVC, and DevOps on Git on TFVC, everything like showing up. Okay, so the project which we are interested into is this one. So I'll go to into the code section of it. Okay, so this is a TFVC project which the guy have created, and this is a different sign-in, and this is a different sign-in itself. Yeah, this is a different sign-in. You can see Girish underscore Kalamati, and that is Ashoka 007. Okay, so both of these guys are, think an example like these guys are working on a single code, and they are doing a lot of commits and everything. And this particular issue guy 007, since he created this repo, we'll consider him as a owner, and he would be assigning up a lot of tasks in here. Okay, and if you want to, we want to go to work section where he would have assigned a lot of tasks. Okay, and we can plan, like we have sprint sort of stuff. We can see the backlogs. Okay, we don't have much task created by this guy, but he had made a member, another person as a member. So we can jump onto it. The member is Girish underscore Calamity. You can check the work items which he have assigned. Um, okay, features TFVC. You'll see the lot of work items, backlog items, everything, and bugs. Everything had been created by this person. Okay, and this is on TFVC we have created. And let's go back to here. And yes, we from Visual Studio, if you want to check out the same stuff, you need to go to the account on which we are interested on it, and we would try to connect to this. We want to connect to TFVC. Okay, so we are connected to certain particular project in this particular Team Foundation collection. Okay, I'll go and map and get it. Okay, it's map and get it. It's similar like clone in Git repo. Okay, since I have deleted this particular repo, that's why it's asking me to map and get again. Okay, so what it does is like it just copies up all of the the projects which I have created, since I have created test folder already, and then I have an application in it. Then it would paste it up that particular test folder with the project everything. If it's not there, then you need to go to the root folder, and then you need to actually create everything from scratch. You need to create a folder first, and then you create a project in it. And if you want to create a different branch, so once you have like as my code is done, we'll go to source control, let it copy. So it's getting a copy onto workspaces project. So I check my code is could have come up or not. Users chicken source workspaces. Repos is for Git and workspaces are for TFVC. And I can see that I got the code. It's under project DevOps training. So already I have this one, right? That's what I had created. Project DevOps training. Yes, I have build process template, which is the basic one, and I have my web application checked out. Okay, so everything is checked out as of now. Just showing, I'll just cancel it. Maybe some issue with extension. It's just showing, but it's not getting closed. I just cancel it. Hope it doesn't reverse the code back. Hope I need to force it. Let me open my code again. This plugin is causing some problem. Okay. So not this. Again, Visual Studio. I have the code. You can see that I have everything test folder and my web application, everything in place. Okay. So what I'll do, if my code is downloaded, then I should be able to open my root folder of this particular Dashuka 007, which is I can open through Source Control Explorer. I have Source Control Explorer. Just click on the Source Control Explorer, and the Source Control Explorer is not there with the Git. So most of the times, like if you're a beginner, then you have created the project with TFVC and Git, then you have possibility of getting confused. So you have, like, after you create a project and then you check out your empty project collections from TFVC, then you actually come here and inside this particular build process template, you need to create a folder, and then you start putting your application in this particular folder. Then only it would work on the branching would work. If you don't do this, then the branching won't work. Okay, that's a tightly coupled or input parameter for TFVC. And my code is there here. So what I'll do is, like, I just try to open my code. Okay. So this is solution is there. So I'll just open this solution. It's in TFVC. So once I open, I should be able to commit to make any changes and do a new create a new branch out of it. Other stuff, everything I can do with this, as I do with as we did on with Git, the same way. Let's close this. I'll go to my Solution Explorer. It looks to be a custom web.config. Let me rebuild my solution. Let us do one thing. Let's create a new project in here. What we will do is, like, we go to Source Control Explorer. We'll delete this particular project. Let me delete the folder itself. Yes, I don't have permission because I have logged in with Girish_Calamity. I can't delete. Only with different account settings you can do the Azure 007. So we will go to the other login which the Azure 007 had done. So this is a login Azure 007 had done. So since he had created this particular repo, he have the delete permission as well. So I'll just go and delete. It's no work items. It's a best practice to attach a work item before you delete, so that your managers or other Ps can check this. What I'll do is, like, I'll try to refresh. I need to do different because since yes, it's reflecting. Since TFS needs a continuous internet connection, so I deleted in my remote repo, and it had deleted here. Okay, since it doesn't maintain a local repo in local like Git. Okay, that's why this the code had reflected very fast. So what I'll do is, like, I'll create a new folder. I'll create a project here. App or root, I'll say it. So once I have web app root, I can create a project here. Let me create a new project, and it would be under this particular. It's my local path. I'll copy my local path. I'll create a new project in that particular location. So it would take your location by default. Okay. And TFVC. I want to, since it's taking up in the master location, I would want to keep it in a web app root folder. I'll copy my location, and then I'll just create a simple web app so that it doesn't take up much time to uh, come up. I'll call it as a web app, simple as possible, and it should be a web forms so that it's little lightweight dynamic. So meantime it's getting created, we can go back to our OneNote. So what we did is like we tried to connect to a project, and now we cloned it on in TFVC, the terms it's mapping getting it, and we went to source control explorer. We had a project, we deleted it. Okay, this is a test folder which I've created. Okay, and application we have added. I have deleted it, and I've created freshly into it, and then I can open certain dashboards, like I can create a bug from my place. Okay, but before that I would would love to check in my code changes, because I've created a new web app, right? And once since I'm creating a new web app, then it would have created new folders, everything. So I'll go to my source control explorer to look. My code had come up here. It's my source control. I can see the code in web app root folder, web application. That's not visible here. So what I can do is like I can add items to folder. It should be an existing item which is there, right? So yes, I can see my web application here. I'll just finish it. Okay, then I should be able to see my folder under source control explorer. This is how you actually map a web application, or if you're creating a new branch or something, you can do that. Okay, so it's this plus sign shows that it's added to the it's added to your solution, to the source control explorer, but it's not checked in yet. If it's checked in, it would show a logged icon here. Okay, I have the web root folder, everything created. So what would be my first check-in would be check-in pending changes. I go to the root, I'll check in my pending changes. It would build this particular project so that it doesn't miss any dependency files, or the NuGet package, whatever it wants. And then I can check in my changes. Since it checking in, I'll check in. See, like GitHub, it doesn't require you to have something called as commits, incoming commits or outgoing commits, because whenever I do, it actually make changes, and it pushes the changes uh, onto the report directly. So you should be able to see the code which should have come up. So you can see that web app root. You don't have any local repo kind of concept in here. So you will have direct changes onto it. Okay, so my changes have been reflected, and the plus sign is gone, and there are no lock icon. Hopefully in Git we have that lock icons. And once I have this, let us try make a branch out of it. I didn't try. Let's try make a branch. Uh, Go to home. don't have something called as branches, but I hope we need to add one more folder, and let's do that. I have root folder, right? So here I'll create something called as, so I can create it directly. What I'll do is that I'll name it as master. To this master version, I would love to add existing code. So there's no code added under this. So what I'll do is like I'll add a web app root which we have already, right? In here, just add packages, master version, application. So I've copied. I'll just go to my source again. I'll just refresh it, and then under the master version, I should be able to add items. See, add all the items. Next, okay, all the items. So it should create the .vs file automatically once I check in. Upload. So I should have something called as well. Go to this one. Okay. So in master version, I have the code, same code, but it's a master version of the code. So I'll go and pending changes. I click. It will automatically detect that there has been one more folder which has been added. Okay, so I'll do that. Checking master version of the code. So since local Git is not local Git, I mean like the TFVC is managing branches by creating folderized branches are done by folders. It's not automatically, or you can't do it via with a UI. So I've just created a repo separately for this particular master branch, and then I check in. So it would go and create same everything, the files onto the master branch, and then you can make changes onto that particular master version, and then you do it. But it's not like unlike like Git, it's not that much comfortable, and a lot of people maybe are not comfortable if they would have worked on Git. But since I initially worked with TFS, so we do have folderized branchings. Okay, that's what we have here. And the same thing, like once you have if you open a solution explorer, okay, and which had opened this web root folder, okay, think it is a dev source or my own local repo. It's not a master version repo. So if I need to make a change from my local version to master version repo, then actually I need to commit the changes from here to here. Okay, and for that, let's go and check what other things we can do with the local version of or taking the local version of or managing TFVC from your local. So I should be able to do, I go to Team Explorer. I have done the change set. You can see the change set is the changes which you have pushed in. It shows the change set. You can roll back the changes, okay, and you need since TFS needs continuous connection, the rollback will happen on server as well, okay. But in Git, right, when you do a rollback, it actually happens to your local server, and it automatically takes care of do a rollback and the master server or remote server whenever it's connected to internet. You can do rollback offline in Git, but you can't do in TFS. So I'll go to work items. Okay, I should be able to create a lot of work items, like I can create a bug. Okay, or product PBIs, I can create product backlog item. So one particular it should not be bug. I don't have support here. New work items feature. It's taking. I should be able to do that from there. We have any place? New bug. Should be able to see. We can be able to. We can be able to do that. And see, previously when I did, I was able to create a work item. The work items can be a bug or anything. New query. No, query would be done once we have any work items or something. Now they are redirecting. I'm not sure why. I should be able to create a work item from here itself. Okay, leave it. So that's how, like, you can go and create a work items or bugs, anything. Let's take an example of I'm creating a bug. I found a bug on this particular website. Okay, I'll create a bug and try to open create bug one. Who created it? It's created by bug one GK, and it's a new and it's unassigned. And since I created a bug, let me work on the bug part. And it's bugs. I'll tag with bugs, and then uh, priority I'll keep it as 1. CBRT I'll keep it as critical. I save it. Okay, so once this particular item has been created, you should be able to, on refresh, you should be able to see the work item which exists. Work items which is assigned to me, I should be able to see. Work items. Task board. Let's read it. Any query would be, I'll try to search team project equal to this one. Check a bug here. Current sprint. So work in progress. Task here. Task. Task 1. Let me assign to unfinished work. Yes, I can see my query returns this particular task. Again, it's coming up here. It's okay. Like the same thing, like whether you do from here or you do from that place, it's the same thing. Just you can check all the details, like what are the tasks you are being assigned, and you can start working on them. From here, I should be. No, it's restricting me to open up here only. So once I open the task, I can check my task how it is, uh, what it is saying about. You can have something in details like this, and then if you started your work, then you can say that it has in progress, and then you just save it. Okay, so once you do that, and you should be able to see these particular stuffs in the board. New bug fix and bug 1 GK, and it's a new task which we have created, but we have not assigned to any sprint. So I'll go back, I'll try to assign it to a sprint. You can see the complete status, like how is the status is getting changed, who created the task, and who set it to in progress, everything according to the time. Okay, we'll look into this later. I should be able to add link to branch. No, related work item. It's a new work item on work type is a task type. Okay, child. So you can create a child work item for this, or you can make this as a child to another particular bigger work item. So one particular bigger item, I can make it as a child of them, or just go back, and that's how you see tasks. And the same way you can see the bugs. You need to have a query for the bug. Right now I'm not able to make one particular query. Should be able to create a query. My team project equal to project develops and work item equal to a bug type. Okay, so state is equal to, since it had been just to do state, right? Okay, and then I'll run this query. So that should give out me a work item. Let me remove this class and then run it again. So these are bug items which I have created, right? Bug 1 GK. So these are the bug items which would be displayed. If you have, like thousands of bugs or test everything, you can have these queries. You can use these queries to filter that particular bug and show it up, and then you can actually directly see it. Once you see the bug, you can act on it. You can work on the bugs, and it has been set to critical. That's why this red line you are seeing it. Okay, so that's the thing, and you can make this particular. If you have already worked on a bug, then what you can do is like repro steps is like the steps which would be mentioned by testers who are actually found, or the developer who had found this particular bug. Found okay, found a bug in the title page. The repro steps would be open web app, click on the page, about page, title page, font are bigger than recommended. That would be my series of steps, and number these steps so that anyone they are trying to follow your steps, they can actually, you know, that doesn't have any issue. Fonts are bigger than the recommended. So that's how, like, if you have worked on it, or if you think that is not a high priority, you can lower the priority as well. That's also possible. Priority, it's okay, we can keep the criticality. If it's not so critical, you can keep this high because it doesn't have any customer impact, right? So I just go mention that at the Azure guy, I think that this particular bug, or I have not done, or I have not created this particular bug. So I can mention any of the guys saying that the person who is adding feature owner to rectify the font issue, title font. I can mention it, and I can, what I'll do is, like, I'll try to assign back to that guy, the issue guy 007. Okay, so you have proper description why you have actually forward this particular request to the issue guy 007 and assign it back to him. Okay, and you can set it up as no new nothing. Okay, I can set the title, change the title, or add a particular field to title. Transferred task to the Azure guy, or the actual feature owner. This thing you can do, so that easily a person who is, or manager who is reading this particular the task can get the gist out of it, that yes, this guy, I mean, it has been transferred to GK and then he transferred to this guy. You can check the history of whatever, whoever changed, okay, the transfer task, and whatever created the bug, and then this step happened, and then this transfer had happened, everything. So the new defect reported, it's in this state and it's still assigned on to my name. So once the Azure gets the results and accepts it and says that okay, I'll work on this, then the state would change to, the ownership would change from Girish Kalamati to the Azure guy 007. So that's the complete life cycle of flow a manager can maintain, or test manager can maintain from a single dashboard. Okay, without even having if your teams are sitting remotely, then it's a best tool to work out on VSTS. Have a team management, everything at place, and then teams can work across on your code, and each and everyone are intimated, and they would be reporting back each and everything. Like if a bug is fixed, then the Azure guy 007 Azure guy 007, he would see that particular work on his plate now. Okay, and what is a work item I created for the Azure guy 007? So I'll go to the here and see the backlog items. And yes, so this is a transfer task which the Girish Kalamati have done, and it's on his plate now, the Azure guy 007's plate. Okay, so what he gonna do is, like, yes, I'm working on it. I'll say that not approved, or since he is the owner, it is saying approved, and he's also the person who would be taking care of this. So what I'll say that yes, I committed. What I did is, like, I did the changes. Okay, acceptance criteria. What he did, yeah, I changed the font as per guidance and checked in the changes. Okay, if you have any commit ID or something like that, you can do that. Okay, you can see that this one, or what you can do is, like, the same thing, like you can mention tag back owner who had written Girish Kalamati, Kalamati, tag back, and change that status to committed, and the CVT can be still and be there like that, because that CVT which it was created. Okay, and the build which particular build you can find it, you can do that. So what I will do is like, let me swap to the Visual Studio, the Azure Guide 007. uh, I'll just switch back, save. So I'll just save it. Okay, I'll just save it, and then it's great. It's you can see that state is committed, and the person who would be seeing this particular bug on the board, he can see that it has changed from new bug fix, and this has changed to approved. Okay, and when it's done, what you can do is like the person who is taking care of it, he can move to done. Okay, then the status of this particular bug would be done. Okay, and if you want to check this, more details about this bug, then what you can do is like you can go to the nature of bug. Okay, and you can check the state of the bug it need to be displayed. So you'll add an additional field called as state. Okay, and yes, one more field, severity. Yes, severity is there, it has been added. You can see this particular all of the things has been added. Okay, so and then you will have like whatever changes you are doing simultaneously, you'll get a email if a status is completed or not. Okay, since the this particular bug was created by given to Girish Kalamati, and then Girish Kalamati transferred this bug to another owner. Okay, so that's what like it would show that since he had created this one, the actual feature on that transferred this particular bug, and he had tagged me in this particular the comment, so I'll get an email for that if I comment it. Okay, that's what. That's what, even you are not online, you actually can be, have a notification on who had mentioned in your comment, or if you can mention like which is a higher priority task you need to work it, then that's a mention via email. Okay, so I'll put it on committed right now. Okay, so it will, you can see that the state is committed and the severity is high, and the tagged as a bugs. Okay, and the same thing, you can create task and assign to any of the guy like that. Okay, so let's go back to our slides. So we created a bug. Okay, so not inline bug creation which is there in Visual Studio, but rather we did an online. Okay, and what we will do is like work on the other part, working with TFS GIT tomorrow. Okay, so right now we are good with this. I'll just stop the recording, we can discuss.